Welcome to the mesmerizing world of ancient Egypt, where magic and religion intertwine in a unique dance. Have you ever wondered how the ancient Egyptians perceived the divine? Why do their rituals and beliefs remain a mystery to this day? In this video, we will delve into the fascinating world of Egyptian religion, uncover the secrets of ancient ceremonies, and learn how faith in divine forces influence the everyday lives of Egyptians. Get ready to dive into a world of gods, mystical rituals, and incredible stories. Ancient Egypt was deeply immersed in religious beliefs that covered all aspects of life. Major deities occupied a central place in every Egyptian's life. For example, the gods Osiris and Isis were not just objects of worship, but symbols of life and death, renewal and protection. Osiris was the god of the underworld, and Isis was the goddess of motherhood and magic. Their cult was so powerful that even after death, their images became the basis of many rituals. One of the most famous rituals was the process of mummification. Egyptians believed that a soul needed a body for the afterlife. Therefore, they meticulously preserved the body through mummification, which included removing internal organs, wrapping the body in linen cloths, and placing protective amulets. These ceremonies were not only performed with great care, but also accompanied by prayers and spells to ensure a safe journey to the afterlife. Special prayers and spells were written on papyrus and placed in tombs at each stage of mummification. Religious festivals were an integral part of Egyptian life. For example, the Opet festival was dedicated to the god Amun. During this festival, the statue of Amun was transported from the Karnak temple to the Luxor temple, and the city's residents participated in festive processions, songs, and dances. This festival symbolized renewal and strengthened the connection between the pharaoh and the god. In other festivals, such as the festival of Hekat, which marked the new year, Egyptians believed that the gods restored order in the world, symbolized by the waters of the Nile washing the land and bringing fertility. Every temple was not just a building, but a sacred place where important rituals took place. A temple was a dwelling place for gods, and priests performed their will. Priests conducted rituals, offered sacrifices, and held ceremonies to maintain harmony between the human and divine realms. They knew secret spells and used sacred objects to establish a connection with divine forces. Temples were adorned with reliefs and images of gods that told stories of important myths and rituals. These images were not just art, but a means of transmitting religious knowledge. Sacrifices played a significant role in religious rituals. Offerings of food, drink, and precious items were made to gods in hopes of their favor. These sacrifices were left in temples or on special altars and were considered necessary to maintain divine order. Additionally, the pharaohs themselves made sacrifices to gain the support of the gods and ensure a successful reign. Sacrifices often included not only objects, but also symbolic actions, such as purification rituals. Ancient Egyptians also practiced magic, which was an integral part of their religious life. Magical spells and amulets were used for protection from evil spirits and illnesses, as well as to attract luck and prosperity. Amulets in the form of the Eye of Horus or scarabs were worn on the body or placed in tombs to ensure protection in the afterlife. They were considered magical items with special powers that shielded their owners from harm. Magic was not just a mystical art, but also part of everyday life. Spells were written on papyrus and used in various rituals. For example, protective amulets were used to ward off evil spirits, and amulets with the image of the god Horus were especially popular. These amulets were worn on the body or placed in homes to ensure protection and well-being. Magic was also applied in medical practices, where doctors used spells alongside medicinal remedies to treat diseases. Pharaohs, as divine rulers, played a key role in religious practice. They were considered intermediaries between the gods and the people. Their responsibilities included conducting rituals, building temples, and ensuring the observance of religious laws. Pharaohs were responsible for maintaining cosmic order and harmony, which made them central to religious life. For example, pharaohs often built grand structures and temples that served as places of worship and symbolized their divine connection and power. Pharaohs also used amulets and magic to strengthen their power and protection. During their reigns, elaborate rituals were often conducted to gain the support of the gods and ensure favorable conditions for the country. These rituals might include sacrifices, the creation of amulets with divine symbols, and spells to enhance their influence. Additionally, pharaohs used magic to protect themselves from potential conspiracies and threats. The concept of the afterlife was an important aspect of Egyptian religion. Egyptians believed that after death, the soul would face a series of trials to achieve a favorable afterlife. Special rituals and magical ceremonies were necessary to help the soul avoid dangers and meet the gods in the afterlife. The journey of the soul through the underworld was depicted as a long and challenging path, full of trials, and successfully completing it required the aid of rituals and spells. The role of pharaohs in religious practice extended beyond rituals. They also initiated and supported the construction of great temples and monuments intended for worshiping the gods. These structures, such as the temples at Karnak and Luxor, were not only religious centers, but also symbols of the divine power of the pharaohs. Built to last for centuries, they served as a reminder of the divine majesty and powerful rule of the pharaohs. Amulets were an important part of personal magical protection. In ancient Egypt, they were worn not only as decorations, but also as small figures or images placed in tombs or homes. These amulets had not only decorative significance, but also served as protection against evil spirits, diseases, and misfortunes. For example, amulets with the image of the god Anubis, who oversaw the mummification process, were popular among Egyptians as they were believed to provide protection in the afterlife. Egyptian mythology was incredibly diverse and rich. Each god and goddess had their own characteristics and spheres of influence. For example, the goddess Mayat symbolized justice and truth, and her cult was important for maintaining order and legality in society. Myths about her intervention in human affairs showed how important moral and ethical norms were to the Egyptians. These myths were also part of the educational process, where young Egyptians learned about social values and norms through stories about the gods. Special attention in Egyptian religion was given to symbolism. Symbols such as the Ankh, the Cross of Life, and the Uraeus, the royal cobra, were used to denote power, protection, and immortality. These symbols appeared on amulets, jewelry, and ritual objects, playing a significant role in religious practice and beliefs. The Ankh represented eternal life and was often depicted in the hands of gods, emphasizing their divine power and immortality. The Uraeus, the royal cobra, symbolized protection and royal authority, and was often depicted on the crowns of pharaohs, safeguarding them from enemies. The myth of creation in Egyptian mythology describes how the god Atum emerged from the primordial chaos and created the world. According to legend, Atum created the land and the sky, and then produced from his own parts the first pair of gods, Shu, god of air, and Tefnut, goddess of moisture. This story symbolized order and harmony that needed to be maintained in the world. Egyptians believed that pharaohs, as representatives of the gods on earth, were responsible for maintaining this order and protecting it from chaos and evil. The legend of Osiris and Isis is one of the most famous in Egyptian mythology. Osiris was the god of the underworld and fertility, but he was killed by his envious brother Seth. Isis, his wife, used magic and effort to gather Osiris's body parts and restore him to life. This story symbolized cycles of life and resurrection, as well as hope for life after death. In Egyptian culture, the idea of resurrection and the afterlife was an important part of religious beliefs and rituals. Magical spells played a crucial role in ancient Egyptian religion. Spells were used for various purposes, from protection to healing. For example, one of the most famous spells, the spell for protection from evil, involved calling upon the gods for help in warding off evil spirits and illnesses. Spells were often written on papyrus or on the walls of tombs to ensure their effectiveness in the afterlife. These spells were not just words, but sacred formulas believed to invoke divine intervention. Amulets such as scarabs and images of gods were worn for protection and well-being. The scarab, symbolizing rebirth and protection, was one of the most popular amulets. It was believed to protect against evil and bring good fortune. Images of gods, such as Horus or Anubis, were worn for ensuring protection and assistance in the afterlife. These amulets were used both in daily life and in rituals to ensure safety and a favorable future. Rituals and ceremonies were vital parts of religious life. For instance, at the Karnak temple, important rituals were performed, including the Opet festival, during which the statues of the gods in a procession through the city. These rituals strengthened the bond between the pharaoh and the gods and also maintained order and harmony in society. Temples served not only as places of worship, but also as centers of spiritual life, where rituals and magical practices were conducted to connect with the divine. The grandeur of these ceremonies reflected the deep respect Egyptians had for their gods and the importance they placed on maintaining divine favor. The study of ancient Egyptian practices and beliefs helps us understand how religion and culture shape social structures and personal beliefs. Religious rituals and symbolism illustrate the deep connection between the spiritual and physical aspects of life, emphasizing the importance of harmony between humans and the divine. This understanding can serve as a source of inspiration and insight, offering valuable lessons about the interaction between faith, culture, and everyday life. The richness of Egyptian religious practices provides a window into how ancient civilizations perceive their world and their place within it. As we conclude our journey into the world of ancient Egyptian religion, I invite you to subscribe to our channel to keep up with future videos. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment. If we reach 10 likes, I'll make a video about the great rulers of ancient Egypt. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.